It's now time for the #1 podcast in iHeartRadio. It's Your House is Key, the podcast that opens the door to your dream home. Hosted by the remarkable Dannel Shepard, he's your trusted guide in the world of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your current one, or simply curious about the market, this podcast is your one-stop shop for all things real estate. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and my good friend, Dannel Shepard.
That's right. Welcome back to Your House is Key podcast. It is your favorite realtor, Dannel Shepard, and I'm here with my co-host,
Chris T.
Oh, Chris T. But no, seriously. So, as always, we're going to definitely unlock the secrets to success of you buying and selling your next or current home. So, a couple of things we definitely want to talk about. So, this episode, we're going to discuss the facts of the home buying process, right? Because everybody feel like they got it. And yes, you can go about it many different ways, but there are some specific things that you must do. So why not dive into it? So
yeah, absolutely. So I think what is the first step for someone when it comes to purchasing a home?
So, and you know, most people like to go around and they want to get on Zillow and all this other stuff and start looking at and searching and researching. But I think you need to look at your finances.
Yeah. So I feel like that was shots fired because I go on Zillow and I look at those $10 million homes and I save them.
Oh, hey, that's cool because she's calling me. So I'm savable, but that's wrong.
But I can't afford it.
Listen, not today.
No.
Yeah, we got to put that in there. Not today.
Not today. Be realistic.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you don't know what your finances is looking like,
yeah.
If you plan on quitting your job, if you got these things that's going to affect your finances coming up right now,
right?
This ain't the time,
right?
So looking at them, understanding what's your budget, you got to know what's your credit score. Credit score is part of your finance.
Yes.
And are you part time, full time? Are you what's the entrepreneur? If you own your own business. How long?
Yeah.
So people ain't talked about that.
Right. So going back to your finances, understanding, first of all, what you can afford.
Facts.
And then also looking at your credit.
Yes. So the credit. And then, so one thing you said, I'm going to definitely touch on later because that's where their lender come in when we talk about the finances.
Okay.
But it's really just understanding, can you truly afford the situation you in now? Are you renting now? Because people don't realize when you're renting, just like, you know, when you got your first car and your mom and dad was like, here's the car. Nothing broke. You didn't need gas. You didn't need that stuff because it wasn't yours. But the moment you own a home, everything breaks. Everything happens. And now is the time where you got to, you know, who's going to fix this? Who's that? I can't call the landlord. So how are you with your rent? How are you with your current bills? What is your bonuses like? Or do you need to wait a little bit to get out of debt? And those are things that you can kind of pre-gauge yourself looking at how comfortable am I today with my current situation? And from that, then it's easy to roll into, you know, once you feel like you're okay, the next most important step that you will go to is starting to interview your realtor.
Yeah.
You need to start interviewing.
Yeah. And you got to find a realtor that's going to work for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying, I mean, in all fronts, too. So personality, is this person actually proactive versus reactive? Because to me, as a client, I shouldn't constantly have to send you listings of what I'm looking for.
Right.
You should be sending me listings because if I'm doing all the work, what you getting your percentage for?
Hey, you got to go work. You got to go work, even if you show up in slides.
Yeah. So what is that? Okay. So let's say I'm looking for a realtor. And what is that? I wouldn't say an assessment, right? But when you try to find out what your client is looking for, what is that called?
A consultation. What you want to do is basically, because everybody do it, right? And I get all the pings and buzz and add-ons of, I'm looking for a realtor. And I guarantee you're going to have 100 people reach out and be like, oh, tag this person. That's cool and all. Mm-hmm. But when you are sitting down, again, you want to start talking about the fit, the availability. How do they work? What is their systems? What are their processes? Their personality. Because a lot of people do business not just based off of your rules of business, but also your personality. Are you too strict? Are you real strong, or do you not have a sense of humor? Because who are you as a person?
Right.
Who are you when it comes to business? And the most important thing is, can you tell the truth about what you need to be successful? Because you could be silly, goofy, and like to have a good time, but do you need somebody who can really light a fire under you?
Yeah.
And make you move?
Yeah.
Those are the things you want to talk about in, your interview with a realtor. You want to make sure that it's not just about, do you know this area? Do you know that area? Because that's important. But you want to know, how can you benefit and help me along my journey?
Yeah. And I think it's also too is when you're interviewing your realtor, that they have a full understanding of what you are looking for, and then also as a realtor, if you're a great realtor, you'll be able to kind of hone in on those top 3.
Correct.
Right? Like, what are your must-haves?
Yep.
So if we could go back to when I was looking for a home, because you assist me in that process, I said one of my number one things, I don't want steps by my door.
Right.
But I don't like walking into a home and boom, you're walking in the stairs.
You got to make a decision.
Yeah.
Up or down.
Listen, what we going to do? So I don't think we even viewed a property where the steps were like, boom.
Nope.
Right? Because you knew Chris, she's not going to like this.
Listen, I don't have time to get cussed out or get fired. Because hey, let's be real, people. Listen, you and you. Yeah. I've been fired. I've done the fire, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But when you're passionate about what you're doing, and people flat out say, "This is what I'm looking for," you can't show them nothing else.
Yeah.
You got to give when you say, because what I realized too, there's some religions out here that and cultures that believe that when the steps are in front of the door, that lets the good spirits out and the bad spirits right in. There's some people where the garage can't be in the front of the house. It has to be on the side. There's so much, but again, when you listen, you paying attention, you taking notes, it goes back to what you said.
Yeah.
So I think that another step I think we kind of hit on, and so while you're interviewing and you find your realtor, there is now a broker agent agreement form.
Okay.
Buyer broker agent agreement form. So basically, that is a form now that discuss before I go show you a property. So back in the day, again, back when that other company and those other websites where you could just call a realtor and be like, I want to go see this house today.
Yeah.
And we can get up and do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. You need a pre-approval. And you need your buyer broker agent agreement.
Okay.
And that what it states up front is, hey, you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I am representing you. It's in writing.
Right.
And upon me representing you, or the broker, because I work for the broker and together we represent you, you are willing, if the seller's not, to pay the commission for the services that you receive.
Okay.
So again, now I will say it's always been negotiable. There is no flat fee. There is no standard. It is what you are worth. Your worth and my worth may be completely different.
Okay.
But you must sign off saying, hey, you're going to pay, I, as Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is willing to pay X% based off of, services rendered to buying the house.
So it's not 6%?
No.
Anymore?
So here's the thing. It's everything's negotiable.
Okay.
Guys, that's the best way, the safest way for me to answer. Because again, some people could be less, some people could be more. It's what you negotiate, because it's always have been negotiable. There's and that's kind of where it came out, because people thought it was a standard. There never was a true standard. This is what my worth is.
Right.
What I will tell people on the side note, adjusting whatever adjustments or changes you make far as a seller could or could not close down the part of the pie.
Okay.
And that's some weeds we can get into, because I definitely want to talk to you about the buying process and how you, like, not the steps, but like how your actual journey went. And because when we talk about the selling of a property too, those things take place. Those are huge when it comes to that agreement. So you sign a buyer's broker agent agreement. So now we're together. I represent you. And one thing you said is work for you. I actually had a client go off. They said, stop saying you work for me. How are we going to be cool? How are we going to be fam? How are we going to have a good time? Because, I pride myself on making sure I remove as much stress as possible so we can enjoy. This should be something fun, right? This is a huge purchase. And they said, I don't want you. You work with me. We are a team. So now I say I work for you, with you, or with.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think it also depends on the person, too.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Because so my first experience in purchasing a home, we were doing you weren't involved. Let me make clear. But we were doing all of the work because my first house was a short sale. And you being in this industry knows that realtors really try to shy away from that because it is a long, daunting process.
It is.
But it was too good of a deal for us to pass up. So we got our first house for $50,000. A 3-bedroom tri-level home, $50,000, had the sunroof, the fence yard. So it was too good to pass up when we finally found it. But we were doing all the work. It was constant follow-ups. Where are we at in the process? And sometimes she would go dark and it would be weeks. And I feel like, as a realtor, regardless of, it's what your client is wanting.
Right.
And what you choose to sign up for. If you choose to take me on as a client, then you should be proactive in keeping me up to date. And even if it's just viewing different properties, I shouldn't constantly have to follow up. And I think just the process alone, period, is just a long process. It can be frustrating.
No.
It can be frustrating, but having a realtor that is working for you eliminates some of the stress. Because there's some things that may occur because every situation is different that neither one of you have
no control over. Yeah. But it's still it's first of all straight shooting.
Yep.
But it's a way you can still deliver the facts without having to be so rigid and rough.
Yep.
And through the years you learn to smooth out those edges, but you can still be very direct about the information that you're delivering. And again, that goes back to making sure you interview and pick the right agent.
Yeah.
So far we got checking your finances, making sure you interview, and along the buyer broker agent agreement before we go to the third. So this is another one. While you're interviewing, you're going to go find, which is the third one, your lender. And the lender is going to help you if you didn't, when you were talking about your finances, discover a budget. Because what you pay for rent will not be the same in the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
It could be simple as a $200 difference or $300 difference.
Right.
But a lot of people shy away from that because they don't understand when it becomes a difference in, renting versus owning. So when you talk to a lender after interviewing your realtor, if you haven't done the lender first before the realtor, you're going to get your pre-approval. And from there, they're going to tell you exactly what your budget is. When you know exactly that I can afford X dollars, it makes the realtor and your job
a lot easier because you know what's in your budget, right?
So you ain't looking at the $1 million houses on Zillow.
Shots fired.
Right. We got to start saying that company name. The website is yourhouseiskey.com. Okay.
So go on yourhouseiskey.com looking for houses in a $10 million budget, but you only got maybe $250. Right.
Why?
Right.
So we don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I know you see the pretty, the house with the marble floors, the pool out back, but maybe you just need an inflatable pool until.
Not laughing at it because that's real.
Sometimes it's real. Maybe you can't get that pool just right now. Just get a house with a nice yard so you can put your inflatable in the back, and then later you can invest in the pool.
That's true. And because what you're talking about is sweat equity.
Okay.
So when you start learning what you can afford versus so there's a difference. I ask people when I do the first time home buyer seminars, I ask you, what does it cost? What does it mean? And what is it worth? And somebody, well, you almost asking the same thing, just in different forms. No, really. What did that house that you want that's 10 minutes from work with the fenced in yard, down the street from your parents with the daycare and all this finished basement? Well, how much does it cost? Okay, that's X dollars. Okay. What is it worth? What does it mean to you? They saying it's worth X dollars to get to you in regards to get it there. So what does it mean?
Yeah.
Because now that you know what it costs, how much it really, they saying it's worth, what does it mean for you to pay that budget? So talking with the realtor helps you get established with the proper budget on making sure that you are in a proper debt to income ratio so you can get pre-approved for the house so that you could then now own the home, because those are the things that are important. Because if I listen to you correctly and your budget is X dollars, I can take you maybe 2 minutes away, 5 minutes, a little bit further, and deliver the same house in your budget, but you got to sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be this close? But is it worth it? Because this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
And you could be talking about thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Right. You could be, it could be thousands of dollars in difference. Right. So we moved just a township over, and just the amount of square footage we got. Okay. We got to drive an extra 5 minutes. Okay. We can do that anyway. Right. Okay. We're not right by the highway as we were, but it's okay. Because we got, more square footage, a better neighborhood, so you have to be willing to sacrifice. You may, unless you got the money to get exactly what you want. So let me ask you this. So we talked about the importance of finding a realtor. Would you say the importance of finding a lender that works for you as well is just as important?
Oh, of course. So big word here, concomitant relationship. You can't have a real solid process without a great realtor and a great lender. Not every lender, but majority, 90% of the lenders offer the same products as other lenders. And it's about who do you want to work with? Okay. They give you this package, whether it's 100% finance or whether it's 3%, whether it's this grant, whether it's this, but if you're the type of person who wants to talk directly to the lender themselves and not their team, then you need to figure out, do you have a team? Yeah. How can I call you on Sunday? If my realtor's working on Sunday, can they call you on Sunday? Can I call? And obviously you got to respect their time. Anybody, just that we would do the same. But that relationship with their realtor and you and the lender and the realtor is one of the top 1-2 combos you can have in this process.
Yeah. So if you have a great realtor, a great lender, that's also going to take away from some of those stresses. Yeah. Because if you to me, I think you can't have one strong person, or, you can't have a strong realtor and your lender is laxy daisy. No. Because there could be important documents that you may need in order to move forward, or, you may be missing something that you're not actually able to close the loop on because of lack of response or just a lack of transparency. So those two things are very key, just from a client perspective. Right. And, me being there, been there, done that. The first house I purchased was a short sale. That was daunting. It was well worth it because we sold our home right when the market, right when it boomed. And I always tell my husband, like, we sold our home just in time, right when we were able to purchase a new home, take advantage of that interest rate, and still have a reasonable, we still got it at a good price. Yep. Because right now we could talk about the equity and how your housing goes up. We're like, oh my goodness.
Hey, some of those points sound very familiar. I think, you had somebody great may have told you some of those things. I'm just not to be continued.
So we got, find, understand your finances, understand. And I think that credit is important, making sure that all rolls up to one. Find a great realtor, a great lender. What is the next step?
Once you do that, then it's off to the races. Okay. It's, people do it differently. Some people have portals. Some people, there's so many ways that you could communicate about what property's up. But now it's off to the races of finding that home. Once we're out there, you start setting up your tours. You get in that home, you do your walkthroughs, and then you start to figure out what you like, what you don't like. Now that you've physically seen it, it's like that meal. You finally had a taste. You tasted it. Is it the one for you? Once you find that house, now we're going to put an offer in. Okay. Yeah. You put that offer in, and this is the time where you can start doing your negotiations, right? What type of loan you're going to use, your closing. Are you closing 30 days, 45 days, 15, depending on the finances, what you're putting down. So you put your offer in. Once you put your offer in, if it gets accepted, your next stop, which I highly suggest that you never And there's investors who do, and I get it. But then you got the inspection.
That's key.
Yeah.
This is never, ever, 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 ever skip an inspection.
Hey, she said
it is money well spent.
There you go.
Because we didn't. Well, I don't think we were able to do. Did we do an inspection on our short sale? I think we know because we bought it as is. That's as is process.
As is where it is.
So we took a gamble, and it was a good one because it was just little nicks that we had to fix. But with this home we got, I think nothing major came back. I think it was just what was it? The radon system. We had to get it. Maybe a loose siding piece. And maybe the dishwashing disposal or something.
Disposal.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing really major. But again, when you're purchasing a home, the last thing you want to do, unless this is your intention is fixing it up, is fix it up.
No, you want to enjoy it.
Yeah, you want to enjoy it. So I think with the first home, the short sale, of course, we had to go in and paint, get new carpet, and it was just, I don't want to do that with this one. I want to be able to move in ready. And the only thing we did with this one is get new carpet, right? That's not a lot that we have to do. It's just want to select the carpet and pay the contract and install it. Yeah. But everything else was fine. Paint, I didn't have to paint. We didn't have to do all these things. So that's important, right? So you establish these things. But I do want to kind of scale it back to when you're doing your walkthroughs. What are some important things people need to be looking for?
So you looking at your HVAC systems, your AC units. You want to look at your foundation. I like looking at houses when it's raining because rain will tell secrets about the house. Where's the water going? Is the gutters clean? Is it coming back in? Because water will find a path of least resistance to come back into the house. But again, on a sunny, dry day, you won't know those things. So that's why the inspection is important. Other things I look for are cracks, vertical versus horizontal. Each crack means something.
Okay.
I also check, what's rust. Is the AC unit outside? Is it rusted? Are the lines busted? I look at the not just the foundation of, the poured concrete around the home, the slabs in the driveway in the basement. What do the cracks look like? Has it shift? Cut on all the water. You are allowed to turn on all the water in the house.
Okay, that's a good
one time.
That's a good. Okay, so what would be the purpose of doing that?
Because you check the water pressure. So you don't want to be in the shower and your husband over here and then your kids is doing this and you got the laundry running and then somebody flushed the toilet and now you don't have any water or hot water.
Yeah.
And now you freeze cold yelling at the top of your lungs. What happened?
Yeah.
So water pressure on your own without the inspection, when you're doing a walkthrough, cut everything on and see if it works.
Okay.
You could cut all the lights on. You could look at the blinds and the windows. You're going to look at those things and they'll be looked at in the inspection. But for the walkthrough, for me, I try to find as much as because I'm not an inspector.
Okay.
That's not my job. I will pair you with a good one, and that's something that they will do. However, I want to make sure if I can see what's, stuff cracks over the door frame by the window frames. There are certain things that through the years you learn and through your classes and certifications that you constantly improve on that you can pick up on. So those are the big things that I look out for when doing walkthroughs of the home. And if it's wintertime, is it cold? Where's the draft? Is there a draft? Is there not a draft? Those are major.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you select the home that you want.
Yep.
Now it's game time.
It's game time. So we put the offer in.
Put the offer in. Offer may or may not be accepted.
Yeah.
That's a realistic approach.
It's okay.
And if it's not accepted, it's okay.
It's okay.
Move on.
Yeah.
Because my husband is still upset about the house on Cherokee.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's identical to what you're living in now?
Yeah.
With the finished basement, though. This one got a finished basement, though, right?
This one has a finished basement. The one on Cherokee Lane did not have a finished basement. It just had the extra room upstairs. It looked like an extra master in a sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Without the bathroom. But every time we drive past that house, it's personal.
It's okay. I feel like that about my house, though.
Yeah, he's like, I just still can't. I'm like, we got a better deal.
You definitely, but that goes into staying. If we keep it so, you did your inspection, you did not win, but with the house that you won was in your budget.
Yep.
The inspection was good.
Yep.
And the time frame in which you were able to do it with the programs you were with,
Mhm.
you were able to gain sweat equity and take advantage of the market.
Yep.
Because if you would have finished that basement, if there's so many things, if you would have done there, you still would have been pouring more money into it right away.
Yeah.
Than enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like you now that it's later, you can put money in it.
Yeah.
Because you enjoyed it already.
Yeah.
You moved in, you enjoyed it. That's the best part about buying a home.
Yeah.
You put the offer in, you get it accepted, you do your inspection. After your inspection, you get the appraisal, right? That's when you're working back and forth with the banks. Here's another key point I want to say. When you're buying a house, do not quit your job.
Oh, please don't.
Don't quit your job.
Don't.
I don't care how bad they're frustrating you, or just hold on.
And do not
30, 40
credit card.
Oh no, we don't.
Stop.
The trip to the Bahamas?
Stop.
Nope.
They can wait.
That car?
No.
Wait. That new couch? That new TV?
No. Wait until
that
you
credit check. Yes.
And then you could go handle your business however you want to do it. But don't do that while you're in the process. Wait until you sign those documents.
That is correct.
And you could do it the hour after.
Yeah. I mean, I had a client that did it. They showed me they had a cart full of stuff and they was ready to click off. As soon as that last signature and all the funding was done, they had their keys.
Listen, pull up that Range Rover. He was like, hold on,
wait a minute. But
you got a new Range.
But because people don't realize in the process of buying a home, as you're doing these things and the house goes through the appraisal process, after the inspection, you're working with the bank. They're going to do a VOE, verification of employment.
Yes.
And they're also going to do your credit. Anytime that you are under contract or started with a lender for the home buying process, any credit that you pull will ding them. They'll know.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to hinder the situation. So you go from you check out your finances as you're working on your budget. Same time you're getting your realtor, lender, getting pre-approved. You got your buyer broker agent agreement. You go out house hunting. You put an offer in, get accepted. You do your inspection, appraisal. It's closing time, right?
Yeah.
You're starting to celebrate. And from there, now you have a home that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, for me, in every situation is different. Make sure if you're looking at on a level 1 to 10, house 4, it's okay to get 2. Because if you've never owned, you got to learn what it's like to take care of the maintenance and get your sweat equity.
Yeah.
Because when you sell it and then you put the equity in, you were looking at 4. Maybe you can own a 5 now.
Yeah.
You can go up a level because as long as you're an individual who keeps striving for better, you're only going to make more money. You're only going to get a better job or a raise, or if you're not married, you get married, or whatever it may be. It's only going to be increases in your life. That's how I look at it.
Right. And I think kind of going back to when we were talking about don't quit your job. How long do you need to be on your job, or what does that look like? Is it still 2 years? So
as an entrepreneur,
okay,
you want 2. You got to have 2 years worth of taxes.
Okay.
Definitely want 2 years. If you're switching, there are 2 things. If you're a nurse at a hospital A and you move to hospital B, as long as you stay in that same field and you have documentation, there's two checks. You at least want, I tell people 3.
Okay.
But you have to get 2 checks that shows you're making equal amount, or if not more.
Okay.
Because the moment you quit that job, you don't have, who's paying you?
Just stop.
Yeah, you don't have no money.
Like, call us back when you get a new job.
Let me know when your benefits kick in.
Yeah.
Because we can't lend or fund on something that you don't.
Yeah.
There's no money coming in, so the bank has no security.
Right.
Yeah. And so again, don't quit your job. Don't make major purchases. And whatever you do, stay within your means. Stay in your budget, because that is huge. When you do that, I can't say it's going to be the easiest process, but you'll have fun along the way.
Yeah.
It won't be as stressful. Am I missing anything?
No, I think we covered everything. When it comes to the home buying process, it's just, I think one thing from a personal standpoint, is just making sure that you're mentally ready for the process itself.
Yep.
That's the only thing from a client perspective is just you check off all the boxes, but are you mentally ready?
It's a journey.
Because it could either go quick or it could be prolonged.
Yeah. And you got to be okay for both.
You got to be okay with both because you don't know until you get there.
That's facts.
All right. Well, this was a good episode. I like this.
Me too. So listen, guys, I thank you for tuning in to the Your House is Key podcast with my beautiful co-host, Chris
T. Okay.
Yeah,
Chris T.
Yeah, she always got the T. Listen. But if as always, if you got any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me at drs@yourhouseiskey.com or 513-703-0370. And always remember, with me, your house is key.
Thanks for listening to Your House is Key with Dannel Shepard. Each week, Dannel dives into essential tips, insider secrets, and expert advice to help you navigate the exciting journey of home ownership and home selling. From understanding market trends and finding the perfect neighborhood to even securing financing, staging your home, and closing the deal, there's only one guy that gets it done. Dannel Shepard, right here at yourhouseiskey.com.